or you may or may not have just heard my child burp to get my attention. Hello, welcome to my channel, Edible Thoughts Makes. My name is Stephanie, and this channel is where I share with you my works in progress, finished projects, things I'm cooking up, books I'm reading, funny things my kids may say. My hope is that as you watch this episode and the previous episodes that you find some inspiration along the way. These hyacinths smell so sweet. They are the first flowers that bloom in the spring here, and as soon as they bloom, you know, the tulips and the daffodils are coming, the leaves from our lilies are all coming up, the peonies grow probably an inch a day. It's really, really exciting. We are at the very end of April, and May is just around the corner. It is sunny and there are blue skies today. I have the windows open. I believe our high is in the 60s today. It's very exciting. So this is episode 57, and all of my videos are fully captioned. So the captions are auto-generated by YouTube, and then I go back in and edit them to make sure that they are accurate. And I also include video descriptions within the closed captioning, and that is provided for all of my videos here on my YouTube channel. I may occasionally put text up on the screen, either to say maybe a pattern name and designer, maybe to correct myself if I say something incorrectly. So if you are working on something and looking down, just know that there may be some text that is on the screen as well. What else? Oh, most everything, if I remember, to link it will be in the description box below this video, and that way you can find out more information or go check out different indie dyers or whatever else that I may mention. I think that is it for that. I believe there's only 5 weeks of school left. That's exciting. As you may know, we have been doing distance learning, and in our household, 100% distance learning since the pandemic began back in March 2020. It started as our week of spring break and then another week of extended spring break as our school district tried to figure out what to do. And as a family, we've just decided to stay with distance learning because it was the best option for us and it's working well for us. So we just figured we would continue through the end of the school year to not shake things up, not shake up something that's working. And yeah, there's 5 weeks left. Not sure what our summer is going to look like yet. I foresee lots of sunshine and gardening and knitting outside, and yeah, we shall see. So today I would like to share with you 4 finished projects. 2 of them are knitting related, 2 of them are sewing related. And as far as works in progress goes, I have 2 that I'd like to share with you today. Yeah, so grab a beverage if you would like, and let's get started. All right, so the first finished project I would like to share with you is the one that I am wearing. Take it off so you can see it better. This is the A Break in Tide Shawl by Tiff, and it is a beautiful DK weight shawl. It may look like there's brioche, which is a technique in knitting. That to me seems really intimidating, but there's actually no brioche in this project. There is a modified fisherman's rib, which people tell me is easier than brioche. I mean, I've actually never given brioche a try. No, not never. I tried it once and it didn't work out, and I decided I didn't have the brain power for it at the time, so I may revisit it again another time. But yeah, so there's like garter sections, kind of a modified garter-ish section. Maybe it's modified, I'm not sure. But the fisherman's rib is slightly modified, and it looks really cool. These knit stitches really pop out. And then there's some slip stitch sections as well. So as similar to all the patterns I've knit by Tiff, she sections off her patterns very clearly so that you know which part you are on. And I really appreciate that. I feel like it also helps give you mini goals. So you can say this week I'm going to focus on section 1, next week section 2, or so on and so forth. So I used yarns dyed by Kim, and she, I believe her website at kimdyesyarn.com, but that link will be below. This collaboration was for the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, I believe that's what it's called, which is going on right now. And Kim is offering free shipping on any yarn orders through her shop through this weekend. I believe it's through Sunday. And then Tiff is running a discount for her pattern. And this shawl comes with but has a matching cowl form, and you can grab both patterns at a discounted price, or one also a discounted price. So you'll have to check out her website for more information on that, and that will also be linked below. I love it. It is so beautiful. Now, I recommend using yarns that are very high contrast. You can do low contrast, but in my opinion, if you do low contrast for something that has high texture to show off the contrast, if you pick something with low contrast, then you won't see it to like its full effect, I guess. And also for my eyes, I feel like it's really difficult if there's not high contrast, because then it's hard to know like which color I'm working with at that time, or which one I need to slip, or whatever rhythm I'm getting into. It's much easier to tell if the colors have higher contrast. So this multicolor with the salmon and orange and brown and pinks, that one is called Beatrix. And then the darker kind of black toned indigo is called Velvet Underground. And I did have 2 skeins of the speckled and then 1 skein of the tonal, and I did not use up the whole 3 skeins. Something to note is that Kim's DK comes in a generous 113 grams instead of 100, so that makes a difference as well. And I had plenty of leftover to make a tassel. I made a, oops, I have a yarn sticking out there. I'll weave that in or put it into the tassel. I used about 10 grams of yarn for my tassel, 5 grams of each, and I'm thinking I'll add 2 more for the other 2 ends of the triangle. I only did one for the center point at the time, but I think I'll go back and add the other 2, and I do have plenty of yarn remaining for that. The way I made the tassel is I took a book and then I wrapped the yarn around it, and then before cutting, I stick another piece of yarn through one of the bends and then tie that so I can tie it all together. I slip it off the book, then I tie another piece of yarn to make this little ball head part. And then once that is secure, I can cut the bottom fold, and then with the yarn that I tied on the top, I can attach that to my shawl. And then any ends, you can just actually tuck right back into the tassel and then trim the bottom, or weave it into the shawl. So yeah, I love this floofy tassel. Oh, it is so fun and so cute. So let's see, what else about this? She doesn't say that you have to block. I believe in the pattern it is written for unblocked measurements of 60 inches for the wingspan, 25 inches deep. After I blocked it, I believe it was around 70 inches wingspan and maybe about 25, 26 inches deep. It is very stretchy, so those measurements aren't super important, I feel, because when it's flat on the ground, you can stretch it out as far as you want, but when you're wearing it, the weight of it is going to, I feel like, increase this depth just by the weight of the yarn. If you decide not to block it, it'll be even squishier because the stitches will not have opened up. I like wet blocking all of my garments and accessories because I feel like it really gives it that final finishing touch. All the stitches open up, it's super drapey, but it does affect how it looks and how it wears. So if you would rather it a little more, I don't want to say like scrunched up, but just squishy in a different way, then I would say don't wet block it. I also feel like because I have young children, things get dirty and messy, and I wear my knits. I don't just like finish it and put it away. So things will eventually get washed. So if I'm going to eventually wet block it for washing anyway, then I might as well just wet block it now. So that's what I did. I love it. I think it's really comfy, and I can wear it over my shoulders on the back, or just how I typically end up wearing them is looped around with the center point in the front, or you can kind of wear it off to the side if you want something slightly more asymmetrical. It is also large enough to bring over your shoulders if you like that look as well. So it is a symmetrical triangle shape, and I went down a needle size. She recommends US 9 or 5.5 millimeter, and I used US 8 5 millimeter to get gauge. And I think that is it for that. The next finished project I'd like to share with you is a pair of socks. I did share with you the work in progress in the last episode, and they are finished. These are a pair of vanilla or basic stockinette socks, and I love how they turned out. The yarns that I used are Knit Picks Hawthorn in the colorway Contessa for the purple, and I used that plummy tonal purple for the cuffs and for the heels. And for the main yarn, I used Mud Punch, and that is a self-striping yarn out of Canada. It was a one-of-a-kind colorway that I bought on sale from Chantal, and yeah, they're both 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and they are both a more plump yarn, a plump round yarn. The Mud Punch was 385 yards for 110 grams, and the Knit Picks is 357 yards for 100 grams, and they both come out to be approximately 3.5 yards per gram, so that's why I paired them together. I ended up using 76 grams of the main color and 18 grams of the contrast color, and they go up maybe like covering 75% of my calf. Here, I'll just hold one, it's a little easier. I did an old Norwegian cast on, which is also referred to as a German twisted cast on, and I cast on 60 stitches. I typically do my socks 56 or a 60 stitch count, and my foot circumference is 8 inches and my foot length is 9¼ inches, and I wear US 7 women's shoe size. I tell you all those numbers because they do affect how many yards of yarn you end up using. I probably could have done a 64 stitch count to start if I knew that I was going to be knitting such a long leg. Or the other option is to do it from toe up. That way you can knit as you go, and as it gets higher and higher, if I decided I wanted the leg higher and higher, then I could do some increases to increase this top portion. It still fits fine. It fits over my leg just fine, but I probably could have planned it out a little differently if I knew I was gonna knit this long of a leg. So anyway, I did 60 stitches and 2x2 ribbing for 20 rounds. And then before I changed color, I knit 1 round just knitting, no purling, in the contrast color before cutting. And then I started with my main color. This way you don't get the little purl, like the side of the yarn like showing through. It's a very clean transition over to the next color. So then I knit about 90 rounds using the main color before cutting it to start my heel. Now the way I determined that was just went until the end of a stripe and the length that I wanted. I did end up making these pretty identical, which is really exciting. And for both of them, I just went until that stripe went out. And even if it was off by a few stitches, it didn't matter because I could just knit to the end of that color, move the beginning around because there's no patterning on the leg of the sock. It's all the same. So then once I cut that, I knit across half my stitches using the contrast color before starting this patterning. And I used the heel flap that I learned from my spring rain socks that I showed in my last video. They are a test knit for Anaashah of Northern Knits and Purl. And the great thing about socks is you can swap in designs and heels and toes and cuffs and whatever, because all you really need to know is your stitch count and you can insert those pieces wherever you want. So I decided to do that heel here, and then I did the heel turn before cutting my contrast color and picking back up with my main color to do the gusset. And I love how clean it looks. The gusset has no gaps, no holes. And then I managed to finish with 3 rounds of this striping sequence. It's a 4-color striping sequence, and they both end with a pink toe. And yeah, I just absolutely love how they turned out. Hello, welcome back. We had lunch and recess, and my kids never finish lunch quick enough to go outside for recess, but it is so nice out, and we did get outside for a little bit just to even dance around in the sunshine and enjoy it before we had to come back in. So Where was I? Let's see. I think I just finished sharing with you those stripy socks, and then now I have 2 sewing projects to share with you. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about what I'm wearing. This sweater I knit 2 years ago. I believe I started it February 2019 and I finished it May 2019. It is the Anaashah sweater by Jennifer Steingass of, I think, knit.love.wool. I believe that's her Instagram handle. She designs a lot of colorwork sweaters, and I believe they're all top down, like start from the yoke and go down. If not, the majority of them are. And this one is sport weight. I absolutely love it. The tweed pink is by Expression Fiber Arts, and it's a yarn that is a 2-ply, and 1 ply is superwash merino and the other ply is non-superwash, and then the flecks are brown, plum, and gold, and it just knits up so beautifully. And then the purple that I used in the color work is Shibui Knits Echo, and that colorway is Velvet. Oh, and the pink colorway I think is called Powder Rose. And what I really wanted to do with this color work is have it look like part of the fabric. And so I wanted a dark purple that resembled the plum flecks. And so it looks like it's really part of the fabric and like kind of just like comes out of it. And I'm really proud of how smooth the fabric came out to be. There's zero puckering, nothing that was like too loose. I just love it. It's a great layering piece for transitional weather. And then I can always take off the long sleeve underneath if I just want to wear it as a short sleeve sweater. I don't believe it's written for short sleeve. I think it's written for full length, but really you can knit it to whatever length of sleeve you want. And I did knit it a full length. So it goes past my hips. The top of my hips are here, and just kind of like pocket length. I don't know what you call that. Anyway, full length sweater. It's one of my favorites. It gets worn a lot around here. Okay, so my 2 sewing finished projects. So something funny. I do not come from a line of quilters. I am not a quilter. My mom doesn't quilt. My grandmas didn't quilt. And I recently learned, like this year, that quilt blocks actually have names to them, like pattern names. I guess that makes sense, but I just didn't realize that. And so I'm learning some of the language around quilting, like HST is half square triangle and QST, quarter square triangle, flying geese, all those things. Like with any craft or hobby or any, I guess, major topic of information, I don't know what you call it, how you classify information, there's always a lot of interesting language and vocabulary that goes with it. So I'm learning some of the quilting language. I will probably never be a quilter because I don't have the patience for it, and I don't, I'm just not super precise when it comes to stuff like that. Like, you can't be a couple millimeters off and be okay, because then nothing will line up. And I don't mind doing like patchwork scrap sewing, because I do find that really fun. Also because you don't have to really measure anything and nothing has to line up just right. So that I have been enjoying, but learning how to do patchwork blocks has been a whole nother ballgame. You may or may not have just heard my child burp to get my attention. Anyway, so I was talking about quilt blocks, and quilts are intimidating to me for the precision that is needed and for the number of blocks and just like the entirety of this project, of the whole project. So I'll probably not be going that direction, but it is fun to experiment with like each individual block and not have the pressure of needing them to be the exact size to all piece together into a blanket. Look at this project bag. Isn't it so cute? So you've seen a few of them here on this channel so far, and I learned that this particular design is an Ohio Star quilt block. Now, some of my points are eaten up in the seam allowances. Some of the lines don't quite match up, but that's okay. It was really fun, and I learned something new, and it's usable. So I absolutely love this floral fabric. You may know by now, I love all things floral. These are flowers. These are flowers. I really like flowers. So it's a perfect sock size bag. I couldn't tell you the dimensions of it. I put a denim box bottom. Oops. Project's falling out. I probably should have cinched it before showing you the bottom. So I like that it sits up. I did use interfacing, and then just kind of a unbleached cotton inside. And I'll show you what's inside later in the work in progress section. And then the other finished project is another bag. Could you have guessed? Again, I love florals. And this is just like a regular square patchwork bag. Again, my lines don't match quite up because some of the squares that I used were cut out from other boxed bottom projects, and they weren't quite exactly the same size. I think these ones I did all 2.5 squares, 2.5 inch squares, but some of them weren't exactly 2.5 inches. And in quilting, I've learned you can't have any fudging of the lines in there because things just won't match up. So unless you're gonna do just like a complete scrappy patchwork, your lines and your measurements have to be pretty exact. And I don't know, that kind of stresses me out. So I'll keep playing around with some of these blocks, and I did borrow some books from the library. Our library isn't open for just browsing, but you can go online, put the books that you want on hold, and then go pick them up. They were doing curbside pickup last summer, but now you have to go into the library, but it's basically all like sectioned off, and then you just go to the areas where you can pick up your books that are on hold. So I have several books that I borrowed from the library on quilt blocks. Some of them are more like scrappy quilt blocking ideas, and then some of them are, I think, more modern and don't actually have names to them. At least it's not written on the pages. There's some applique ideas on there as well. So it's just full of exciting things to look at and color combinations, and I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. So this is my square, patchwork squares, and then I have this beautiful floral for the back, and then this scrappy parts for the drawstring channel. And then this one has a peachy cotton inside. I like to include a jump ring on the inside to hold progress keepers. Okay, so I'd like to share with you 2 works in progress. One of them is in this patchwork project bag. So the yarns that I am using in this project are by Sweet River of a Knitter's Homestead. And I purchased this set of mystery mini skeins from her last year. Can't remember when, but sometime last year, and they are so beautiful. Here is the tag on the screen to show you the base. It is her farmhouse base in 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it's 5 of them. They're 2-ply, and the total is 400 yards for 100 grams. And so they are mystery colorways, which means I didn't know what they were ahead of time. But I do love River's aesthetic and her play with color, and so I knew that whatever I received, I would probably be in love with. And I am not wrong. She does not disappoint. So I have since wound these up into their individual balls. This one's coming out. So this one is a kind of a pinky lavender tonal, This one is a sparkly spring green. Stellina is always hard to capture. This one, oops. This one is a sparkly bluey lavender with pink and purple. And this one does not have sparkle in it, but it has like green and blue and gray. The last one is a sparkly purple with blue and pink speckles. It is so beautiful, and that is the one that is on the needles right now. So I am testing Denise of Earth Tones Girl, her latest pattern. It's coming out soon, and it is a vanilla sock with a new to me heel. It is called a shadow wrap heel. It is one I have never tried before, so it'll be really fun to give that a go. So stay tuned for progress on that. How I am knitting my sock is I am using minis and doing a striping sequence. So I will do my ribbed cuff, and then I will start striping in my colors. And my plan is to knit 2 at a time in tandem. So once I finish with this color, I will get out my other US 1 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular needles and cast on the exact same thing. And then once I'm done with 2 cuffs, then I'll start with one section or one color in stockinette on one, cut that yarn, and then do it on the other one, and then kind of go back and forth like that. So that is my plan for these, and you will see more of these later. And something I absolutely love about matching up my yarns and project bags are that, well, you know, I have several works in progress always, and it is an easy way to see what I have going on without opening all the bags. So just by looking at this one, I know what project is inside. All right, the second work in progress I would like to share with you is living in this log cabin. I know this is called a log cabin patchwork project bag that I sewed last summer. It has a denim box bottom, denim back, and it's pretty large. I have tabs on the side and attached a crossbody belt to it. And I love this because there are birds on it. You may know I love birds. This one I had centered on a bird. I just love it. So in this project bag is the odds and ends cardigan that I'm testing for Tina. It might be a little tricky to get out of the bag, but I will do my best. There's quite a bit of yarn attached to it. I first shared this work in progress a few weeks ago, I believe. Maybe a month ago, maybe a few weeks, I don't really remember. But this cardigan is knit in a new to me construction. And so you start at the back bottom and you work your back panel all the way up. You knit it flat. And then you separate for the front panels, and then you knit your front panels down. And then you pick up for your sleeves and you knit your sleeves in the round. And then you figure out where your pockets are going to be on the side if you're going to do inseam pockets. And then you seam up the sides, you make your pockets, and then you graft, sew, and then you graft or sew in those pockets. It's a DK weight, and I decided to model mine to resemble a watercolor painting. So I pulled together a lot of colors that I thought would marl well together. And this is what I have. I'm not sure I can back up far enough to show you the entirety of it. And I picked up my second sleeve. I did those 2 pickups at the same time because I wanted to make sure that I was picking up the same amount and the same length down on each side. And I am not doing each side the same for the front panels. I didn't do the same. Each sleeve is not the same. Here you can see the back panel. So the way I did it was I would knit until one yarn ran out and then add in another and then drop the other one and then add in another. So I'd either knit until the little amount ran out or just switch whenever I felt like it. And I didn't really plan out each color. It was more just whatever I felt like, but at points I would pick maybe the next color to be something that would pull out the speckle from the previous color, so that it would kind of go together, but not necessarily. So here, it's easier to show you the sleeve. And I am knitting the length of it to just be kind of just past the butt, but we shall see how it blocks out. So the way I measured it should come out close to that, but yes, we'll see how that comes out. Blocking always changes things up a little bit, but I love how this is knitting up. It is textured and it is an open front cardigan, and there will be pockets. It is my first time, I think it's my first time knitting a garment with pockets. I don't believe I've done that before. So that'll be really fun. And I can see this project being very well loved and worn once it is completed, and I cannot wait to finish it. I think I'll be able to finish it in the next couple of weeks. I mean, definitely before the end of May. But I've one sleeve almost finished, the other sleeve started, and yeah, I'll just need to seam the sides and knit those pockets. So maybe by the next time I am back to recording, well, maybe by the time I'm recording next, it won't be completely finished, but it'll be close. Yeah, definitely by the end of May, you'll see it finished. So that'll be really exciting. If you check out the hashtag odds and ends cardigan, you'll see what a lot of the other test knitters are coming up with in terms of color combinations. It's really exciting. And I'll put that hashtag here up on the screen so you can look that up. Yeah, I think that is all I have to share with you today. I just wanted to hop on here and share with you some of those finished projects, some of my works in progress that I'm really excited about, and share with you some of the sunshine and the blooms that we're having. It's really, really nice to see the sunshine and so nice to see the flowers. I feel like winter can be so dull and gray. I mean, it's beautiful in its own way, but it's almost as if you don't realize how much of like the color of the flowers and the smell of the flowers that you miss until they come right back, and it's like seeing an old friend and you're picked up just where you left off, and it's so nice. So I think that is all I have for you today. If you would like to drop me a comment below to tell me what is inspiring you these days, I would love to hear from you. If you're not inspired by anything, that's okay too. It's nice to see what people are up to. So with that, cheers to being creative. I hope you are taking care, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.